All right, today we're pulling back the curtain on one of the unsung heroes of modern medicine. We're talking about an invisible guardian, a tiny piece of engineering that does a massive, massive job. And honestly, without it, the pure, safe pharmaceuticals we rely on just wouldn't exist. So let me just ask you this. Have you ever seen one of those huge pharmaceutical plants and thought, how in the world do they clean the inside of those skyscraper-sized tanks, or that insanely complex web of pipes? We're talking about surfaces that have to be so clean, there can't be a single stray microbe. Well, I can tell you one thing for sure. It's not some poor soul in a hazmat suit with a ridiculously long scrub brush. The real solution is way, way more clever than that. The answer is this silent workhorse right here, the spray ball valve. This is our invisible guardian. It might not look like much, I know, but trust me, its job is absolutely enormous.
You see, this valve is a star player in something called a clean-in-place system, or CIP for short. And the whole point of CIP is right there in the name, to clean and sterilize every single internal surface of the equipment automatically, without ever having to take a single piece of it apart.
So how on earth does this little guardian actually work its magic? Okay, let's break it down and look at the anatomy of this thing. At its heart, the design is basically a perfect marriage of two key components, all packed into one super efficient unit. This integration right here is the secret sauce to its success. So first up, you've got the valve body in the actuator. Think of this part as the gatekeeper. It's hooked up to the main pipeline, and when it gets the signal, boom, the actuator opens up a plunger, letting the cleaning solution flow through. That solution then rushes directly into the second part, the spray ball itself. And this is where things get really cool. Now, get this. Not all spray balls are created equal. You basically have two main types. You've got your static spray balls, which are kind of the classic design. They just use pure liquid pressure to blast the solution out of all these precisely drilled holes to cover every inch of the tank. But then, you've got rotary spray balls, and these are just next level. They use the force of the fluid itself to spin the whole head around, creating this dynamic 360-degree cleaning vortex that leaves literally nowhere for a contaminant to hide. Okay, so you might be thinking, why not just use a separate valve and a separate spray ball? Why bother sticking them together? Well, in the world of pharmaceuticals, that integrated design is absolutely critical. Let's just break it down. The pros here are huge. The number one advantage, the real game changer, is guaranteed hygiene. An integrated design completely eliminates what engineers call dead legs. These are tiny little crevices or unswept corners in the piping where bacteria could survive a cleaning cycle. For meeting FDA standards, that is a total non-starter. They're also way more efficient, they save space, they speed up cleaning, and they use less water and chemicals. Now, on the flip side, sure, they are more complex and they have a higher price tag, but you have to see that cost as a serious investment. And here's the bottom line. When a single contaminated batch of medicine can be worth millions of dollars, not to mention the incredible risk to public health, the higher cost of the right equipment suddenly seems like an obvious choice, right? There is just zero room for error. And you can't just install one of these and hope it works. Oh no. In the pharmaceutical industry, every single piece of critical equipment has to go through an incredibly intense, rigorous process. It's known as qualification, and it's basically a gauntlet designed to prove absolute perfection. This qualification process is a four-step journey. It starts with design qualification, or DQ, which is just making sure the specs and materials are even right for the job. Then comes IQ, installation qualification. That's all about answering the question, did we build it and install it right? Next up is OQ, operational qualification. This is like a dry run, a dress rehearsal, to see, does it work right? And finally, you get the ultimate test, PQ, performance qualification. This is the real-world trial with actual cleaning solutions to prove that this system can do its job perfectly every single time. So let's bring this all back home. Why does this little marvel of stainless steel engineering hitting deep inside some factory actually matter so much to you and me? Well, it all starts right here, with this one small, intelligent component, designed and built for one very specific, very critical task. And it all ends right here. It ends with the absolute certainty that the medicines we depend on for ourselves, for our families, are pure, safe, and effective. That is the connection. And that quote really says it all, doesn't it? These components are completely out of sight, just working tirelessly around the clock. They are the invisible guardians, making sure that what's in that bottle is exactly what it's supposed to be, and absolutely nothing else. You know, the world is just full of these hidden heroes of engineering. So what other invisible marvels that impact our daily lives should we put under the microscope next? I'd love to hear your ideas. Thanks for joining me on this one, and as always, stay curious.